And we're back at it here on a Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, if you will, 27th day of November, 2024. I am Dan Kuntz. As you can see by our camera behind me at Wenatchee Heights, it's cloudy and foggy and misty yet again. It looks like today is going to be a repeat of yesterday, and Thanksgiving will be a repeat of today, which is going to be a repeat of yesterday, which is low clouds and fog for most of the morning, burns off to some sun breaks in the afternoon. Dry, no rain in the forecast. In fact, this pattern, they say this high pressure ridge, which is beginning to develop, and it will eventually move right over our north central Washington area by the weekend, could be strong and well entrenched. So we're not going to have any kind of precipitation at all for the foreseeable future. Mountain passes are going to be fine, but the big problem is going to be visibility. Low clouds and fog. And of course, when you get high pressure this time of the year, if low clouds and fog is already prevalent, it has a tendency not to burn off. So we could have a pretty cloudy and pretty foggy weekend coming up. Details are on the way, but again, no snow, no rain at all in the forecast right into the most of next week as we welcome December. We'll have a lot of news to get to. We were hoping for a quiet day in the newsroom yesterday. Didn't quite pan out that way. Quick programming reminder, we'll have the news for you tonight, but the news crew has a 2-day into a 4-day weekend. They're going to have Thursday and Friday off, which is pretty cool. In fact, on Friday, we're going to replay that really cool documentary that Jefferson Robbins and Tucker Wagner put together on Molly Linville, who has that big, beautiful ranch out there in the Palisades. We're going to replay that for the news on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. Everybody's off tomorrow, but we're going to be doing Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on Friday morning. Even though the news crew has Friday off, we're going to come in and do a show. Ain't going to be much, just a quick little heads up on that. Sports, we'll preview a couple of big hockey games. Kraken are taking on the Ducks of Anaheim in Seattle tonight. And the Wenatchee Wild are on the road in Kent to take on the Thunderbirds. And not a lot going on in sports, but what we do have, we'll have for you. And in the back half of the program, we're going to replay that really cool film that was sent to us late last summer from the Washington State Department of Transportation. As you know, they're trying to be as proactive as possible to keep cars and animals from getting together. Just this morning, shortly after 5 o'clock on Highway 2, just outside of Cashmere, a ginormous herd of elk were going from one side of the highway to the other. And granted, this is 5 o'clock in the morning. One of them got hit by a car, which caused a chain reaction involving 2 more cars and a semi. These are the kind of things they're trying to avoid, and the DOT is being proactive about it. And they put out this cool little film about how they're doing these overpasses and tunnel divertments and all that stuff to keep animals and cars away from each other. Animals got to move, you know, that's just all there is to it to survive. They have to be transient. They don't want to hit a car. We'll have that film for you. It's called Wild Ways While Keeping Washington's Habitat Connected Matters. We'll show that to you in the back half of the program. You're going to like it. 3 minutes after the hour, I don't know what we're going to be able to see today, but we're going to find out together. It is what it is. Here we go. That is the Wenatchee Heights camera. That's what we got. One of the first things I do when I get up each morning, and I get up real early, this time of the year with the clouds and the fog and the inversion, I immediately step out of my front porch and I want to see if I can see the cross. And I have not been able to see the cross at all this morning. As you can see, the cross can't see us. If it wasn't for the cross, we wouldn't even have that to see, that little abutment sticking out in the lower left-hand corner. But that's what it is from our Wenatchee Heights camera. Camera 2. Can we avoid the fog up at Lake Wenatchee? By golly, we can. Nothing up there. That looks pretty good. My guess is if you want a tea time at Kendall Glen, you can pretty much forget about that. This might be the time of the year where they switch, of course, from golfing to cross-country skiing. You can see Nason Creek and the little Wenatchee. Way off in the upper right-hand corner is Fish Lake, a little sliver of that. And, of course, Lake Wenatchee, Dirty Face Mountain, and some snow up Lake Wenatchee way. Camera number 3. Arundel Rock, always popular this time of the year because at least we can see something from the Arundel Rock camera. That's just what we call it. There's no real geographic location that's called Arundel Rock. We just made that up ourselves, I think. Wenatchee Valley way off into the distance. Mission Ridge will be busy again this weekend, I'm sure. And camera 4. We're off to see, I'm going to say Billy Goat. Look at that. I'm assuming that's Billy Goat, just because I'm thinking that's Billy Goat. Look at the low clouds and fog up in the Omak, Okanagan, Bridgeport, Brewster, Pateros area. They're all down there, but boy, are they sucked in. Now this camera is over 5,000 feet in elevation. That's why we get these spectacular views. But that is a perfect example of the inversion in the clouds that have settled in over the north central Washington area, because that is pretty ominous. I don't know how much it's going to burn off. We'll find out. a little bit later on, kind of like what we had yesterday. Mountain passes. This is one of the biggest travel days of the year, and if you're traveling over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house, you got no problems at all. Very little snow expected on any of the major mountain passes, even the minor ones for that matter. So you are pretty much good to go. So no real, just traffic. That's all, just lots and lots of traffic is all you're going to see on I-90 and on Stevens and on Blewett and all the area roadways as people hit the highways. So traffic is going to be your biggest problem. Weather, not a problem at all. However, visibility is going to be a problem in many locations, especially out in the Columbia Basin and some of the valleys around us as well. We have a lot of moisture in the air. Relative humidity is pretty high. It's 100%, as a matter of fact, in Ephrata right now. We've had all that wet weather. We have the high pressure ridge established, and that is a perfect mixture for some pretty thick fog. We showed this to you yesterday. They think this is going to last all the way through this morning, quite possibly into Thursday and Friday. A lot of it depends on how much clouds and fog have established themselves when the high pressure ridge moves in. So you could all of a sudden you'd be driving right along and then boom, fog and clouds can come right out of nowhere and grab you. So heads up on that, especially out of the Columbia Basin. Could be a little foggy there. All right, from the National Weather Service, looks like we're going to do it all again. We'll have sunshine once the clouds burn off, and it will take a little while, and then we'll get going. We'll pop up at about 45 degrees. It's going to be chilly tonight under partly cloudy skies, 25 for the overnight low. Partly sunny Thanksgiving Day, not real warm because we're going to have such a cold start to the day. We'll be getting only up to about 30. We'll have a few more clouds and sunshine, but we will see some late afternoon sunshine on Gobble, Gobble, Gobble Day. 25 for the overnight low. And then into Black Friday we go. Lots of sunshine at a high of 42. That's looking pretty good. 27 for the overnight low Friday. Saturday, it looks like the clouds and the fog are going to be very well entrenched. So the fog and the clouds will be pretty dense. It won't be burning off. We'll just have clouds on Saturday and a high of 40. They tell us clouds Saturday night, 28 for the overnight low. And a few sun breaks to wrap up the weekend on Sunday with a high near 40. No rain in the forecast at all. High pressure will be large and in charge by the time we get to tomorrow, and it's not going anywhere for quite some time. All right, after a quick 2-minute break, we'll have your Wednesday morning news. You're watching Look Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
It's cold outside and time to make sure your loved ones are safe and secure at home during the cold months ahead. Aging and Adult Care has low-cost, in-home care options for seniors, adults with disabilities, and for caregivers assisting relatives or friends. Services like housekeeping, personal care, and home-delivered meals can make such a difference for you or someone you know. These services and more are available by calling Aging and Adult Care's offices at 1-800-572-4459. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, located on South Wenatchee Ave, has the largest selection of spas and swim spas in town. Stay cool this summer in an artesian swim spa and use it all year long. We enjoy helping families reconnect one spa at a time. Hot tubs are proven to improve sleep and decrease arthritis pain. Our passion is water, so please bring us a water sample, and we will help you diagnose your pool or spa water for free. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, your pool and spa experts.
I'm Jim Heinlein, and I've been working with you all for about 20 years now. And it's safe to say I've seen most every situation as it relates to annual election period. This AEP is going to be like a tsunami. It's not tall, but it's huge in effect. And when the water retreats, you're going to see the damage to those who didn't react properly. So what is a proper reaction? Well, call a local insurance professional like Springwater Insurance. We have already developed a strategy for those of you who need a change. Give us a call at 509-888-2600.
The Black Friday mattress discounts are on now at all Walker's Furniture and Mattress stores, with some of the biggest savings of the year on all Serta and Beauty Rest mattress sets with no money down and no interest for up to 5 years.
Improve your sleep for less at Walker's.
Pretty dense clouds and fog, 34 degrees. We're going to do today what we did yesterday. Clouds and fog, pretty prevalent in the morning hours, sunshine in the afternoon. Kind of the same deal on Thursday and Friday. Looks to be a fairly cloudy weekend heading our way, though. It's 10 minutes after the hour. The man charged with murdering 28-year-old Cynthia Ring of East Wenatchee back in June pleaded guilty on Tuesday to that crime. 23-year-old Ashton Bunting Jr. entered a plea to second-degree murder in Douglas County Superior Court. Deputy Prosecutor Ethan Morris says Bunting will now face a prison term of between 10 to 18 years. East Wenatchee police say Bunting was Ring's romantic partner. He allegedly murdered her in the East Wenatchee apartment that they shared and then fled the state, leaving Ring's 4-year-old child alone in the apartment while her body laid in a locked bedroom. Bunting was arrested 1 week later in Ohio. Police say he left notes at the crime scene, essentially confessing to the murder. In exchange for Bunting's plea, prosecutors agreed not to file additional charges. Judge Brian Huber will impose sentence on December 16th. A Bridgeport man has been charged with vehicular assault after a head-on highway collision near Wells Dam. This was a couple of weeks ago, you might remember. 34-year-old Andres Martinez Perez was arraigned Monday in Chelan County Court. The Washington State Patrol says Martinez was at fault in the November 9th crash on Highway 97 that injured a 78-year-old Wenatchee woman. His northbound Grand Cherokee crossed the center line and struck the oncoming Honda Accord. Martinez allegedly told state troopers at the time that he had consumed alcohol before traveling. Apparently he had a blood alcohol level of 0.16%. He's scheduled for trial in February. A single vehicle rollover yesterday afternoon on Highway 2 didn't result in any injuries. Washington State Patrol troopers said the driver of a Chevy Suburban drifted off the highway near Red Apple Road outside of Cashmere, overcorrected, flipped the vehicle. Trooper Jeremy Webbers told us that the driver, 85 years old, showed no signs of impairment, wasn't hurt, didn't affect traffic. Apparently it just looked worse than it actually was. Well, the seasonal closure of the Wenatchee Foothills Trail System is now happening. It'll start next Monday, December 2nd. They do this every year, of course. The Sage Hill trails and the parking areas on Horse Lake Road, Day Drive, Number 1 Canyon Road, they'll be closed. Of course, they do it so the winter habitat of mule deer will be protected, and the trails will be protected from erosion and damage that can happen during the late fall and early spring months. The closure will start December 2nd, will likely go to April 1st. Winter recreationists should monitor the Chelan Douglas Land Trust website for trail closure updates. And of course, there are other places that stay open all the time. The Apple Capital Loop Trail, the Saddle Rock Natural Area, the Castle Rock Natural Area, and so on. A veteran of firefighting in the Upper Wenatchee Valley is going to retire from the force this year, Kelly O'Brien. He's the chief of Chelan County Fire District Number 3 in Leavenworth. He's retiring on the last day of the year. He's led the department in his hometown for 20 years, worked as a firefighter in Leavenworth for 16 years before that. O'Brien has overseen major growth in the department, while also help keeping the people safe, including the 1994 Hatchery Creek fire. You might remember that threatened the actual town of Leavenworth. He spoke with our Jefferson Robbins earlier this week.
Kelly O'Brien. I am the fire chief for Chelan County Fire District Number 3. Fire District 3 is roughly 30 square miles. It runs from the top of Beaver Hill, which is up the Chumstick, incorporates the city of Leavenworth, about halfway between here and Peshastin on the North Road, and down to Praise Fruit Barn, and then the mouth of Tumwater Canyon, all of Icicle, East Leavenworth. Back in the 80s and before, there was 2 fire departments. There was the City of Leavenworth Fire Department and Chelan County Fire District 3. It was 100% rural firefighting. In 1989, the city contracted with the fire district for fire protection and no longer had a fire department. In 2014, we annexed the city into the fire district. So now all the citizens of the city and the district get a vote on commissioners and fire issues, levies, bonds, etc. I started 2 months after I graduated from high school in August of 1988. I was going to Wenatchee Valley College, wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and my father-in-law was now father-in-law, but he wasn't at the time, was the fire chief for District 3. And I always saw him going on calls and stuff, and it interested me, so I asked to join and joined as a volunteer, and the rest is history. the original fire station downtown that was built in 1964 is about the same size as this training room. And it had to house all the equipment. So now we have 7 full-time members. We still have a good core of 25 volunteers. Our equipment's been upgraded to be more in the 21st century. Our fire station has been updated and is larger. We have quarters for people to stay here and resident programs. Yeah, so it has changed a lot just in what type of incidents we run on. I think we ran around roughly 80 calls when I joined the fire department back in 1988, and we're running almost 700 calls a year now. When we built this station, it just made sense because the high school is right across the street. It's been really advantageous for us because we get volunteer firefighters out of it when they graduate. Our resident program is 3 out of the 4 positions are filled by former members of the cadet program. We also, a lot of those kids are able to go get seasonal jobs fighting fire to help earn money for college. And several of them, I don't know how many I'd have to go back and count, but we know there's quite a few that have actually gotten and are having a career in the fire service, a successful career. So, you know, I think it's a real kind of a big deal for a department this size, community this size, to be developing fire service leaders going into the future, and quite a few of them for our size of organization. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. And I think the crews are highly capable. I believe that, you know, any fire chief's going to want to do their own vision for the department. So that's yet to be determined. But the personnel that are here, including our volunteer staff, are very capable. I have the utmost confidence in their abilities.
Happy retirement. This is pretty cool. Normally, of course, Omi Gardens closes in the middle of October, but Omi Gardens this year will transform into a winter wonderland straight out of the North Pole. The attraction, Omi Gardens, is offering the North Pole Express, a journey that transports guests to the home of Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. Now, personal vehicles, you're not allowed at the attraction, so they're going to do park and rides. There'll be a couple of them at the Beshaston Big Y Park and Ride, and in Wenatchee, right down the road from Omi Gardens, the Park and Ride on Penny Road. So they'll bus you up there. Transportation will start on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. It'll run through December 23rd. The prices, it ranges but depending on your age, and of course Omi Gardens, if you want to visit the North Pole there, encourages people to wear winter shoes and warm clothing. And for more information or to buy tickets, you can go to the Omi Garden website. And of course, it's a short week for a lot of folks, and that includes us and the government. So most government offices, almost all of them, will be closed in observance of the holiday, both tomorrow and Friday. That includes Chelan County and Douglas County. They'll be closed tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and they'll be closed on Friday, November 29th. Same deal with Wenatchee and East Wenatchee City Halls. They'll be closed on Thursday and Friday. There's no school for the next 3 days for most of the local kids. Of course, there'll be no mail delivery on Friday, that kind of deal. Everybody, by the way, goes back to work, be it government or schools, on Monday, December 2nd. And before I forget, make a point to go see Eric and the crew on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at Hooked on Toys for the Community Toy Drive presented by Les Schwab. We've been a part of it since it began. This is the 7th. Can you see that? The 7th Community Toy Drive presented by Les Schwab, and we're going to kick it off with a live broadcast. Eric will be down there with the crew at Hooked on Toys on North Wenatchee Avenue. He will be there from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday. So make a point to drop by, pick up a new unwrapped gift, or pick up gift cards or whatever. We're proud to be a part of it. Another programming reminder, no news and no Wake Up Wenatchee Valley tomorrow for Thursday. There'll be no news on Friday, but we will have a Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. That's going to be fun. If something out there warrants our attention, get a hold of us. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com for news tips. And don't forget the news tonight with Grant and Eric at 5, 6, and 10 on television, 5, 6, and 10 on TV, or you can watch it via the World Wide Web on our homepage, NCWLIFE.com, on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, all that good stuff. We try to make the news as accessible as possible for you. Sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from Mike Mad Dog Gennady, and a really cool film from the Washington State Department of Transportation. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Central Washington Water is your hot spring spa dealer for over 45 years. Shop their showroom and see the new Freshwater Smart IQ. This is a new innovative approach to super simple water care combined with the freshwater salt system to give you clean, balanced spa water naturally. There's a hot tub for every budget. Save up to $1,000 on hot spring spas or buy plug-and-play spas starting at $79 per month. Why shop anywhere else? Central Washington Water. They service what they sell.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les.
22 minutes after the hour, the Seattle Kraken are back home at Climate Pledge Arena tonight as Game 2 of their home-and-home series with the Anaheim Ducks. And the Kraken own the Ducks. They have won 4 times at Anaheim and 4 times at home during their 8-game winning streak. That's right, they haven't lost to Anaheim since, well, it's been 2 years since they've lost to Anaheim. The puck will drop at 7 tonight. It'll be both on King and Kong, so don't climb any tall buildings. The 3rd-ranked Gonzaga men, they're in the Bahamas. That's not too bad. They're in the Bahamas this morning. They'll take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. Bulldogs, 5-0 in non-conference play. Gonzaga is 2nd in the West Coast Conference at limiting opponents' scoring. They're allowing just 61 points a game. They're also holding their opponents to just 39% shooting. That's good. The game tips off at 11:30 this morning on ESPN. The 6-1 Cougar men, they are in Palm Springs to take on the 5-2 SMU Mustangs tonight. That game tips at 6:30 on True TV. As far as the ladies are concerned, the Husky women are also in the Bahamas, playing the Southern Jaguars in the consolation game of their holiday tournament. That game starts in about half an hour, about 8 o'clock this morning. It is in the Bahamas after all. The Eastern Washington women, losers of 4 straight, will host Cal State Bakersfield tonight at 6 o'clock. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. I can't, I don't have it. The Wenatchee Wild heading to Kent. They'll take on the Seattle Thunderbirds in WHL play tonight. Wenatchee fresh off an 8-4 loss at Portland on Saturday. And despite that defeat, though, the Wild's special teams unit continues to impress when Wenatchee is short a man. Our good friend Austin Andrade dropped by this very program yesterday to talk to me about their league-leading penalty kill.
It's huge for these guys, and it shows that they're putting in the. It shows that they're capable of putting in the effort. Right now, the guys are working on getting things going consistently. A full 60 minutes, one night after the next, all 20 guys. When you're a consistent hockey club, you win games, and this group is, I think, getting close to that. They're still working on getting that consistency built up to where we're able to string some wins together. But it shows the effort. I think penalty killing, I kind of equate it to rebounding in basketball. Even if you don't have a ton of size or you don't have maybe a ton of height. In rebounding, you can still box out, you can still read the rim, and you can still get to the right spot. And with these guys, penalty killing, a lot of it comes down to effort, getting to the puck, forcing turnovers, and getting it the heck away from your net. And these guys have done about as well a job as anybody in the league of doing the simple things to make a penalty kill count.
Wenatchee's goalie Daniel Hauser is good, so good he's going to be playing Division I hockey next year at the University of Wisconsin.
Got one heck of a history. They won 6 national championships so far. Haven't won one in about 20 years, but it's a group that has won championships all the way back to the 60s. They've had almost 100 guys go to the NHL from Wisconsin. And Mike Hastings, who's got a long career in the USHL, I remember seeing his team. He coached his teams in the USHL when I was a kid. He was coaching in Omaha when I was in Des Moines as a little kid. Those teams had a huge rivalry, so we'd see them all the time.
This is back in the early 60s?
It feels like it. But no, he's done a tremendous job everywhere he's gone. He's won everywhere he's gone, and he's gotten the guys to do it everywhere he's gone. And it's good to see Daniel getting a chance to continue playing hockey at a high level, maybe get some second looks. He was never drafted by an NHL team, even though he's up over 100 wins in the WHL. It's one of the most decorated goalies the league has ever had. But he's never gotten drafted by an NHL team. This will give him a second look to get some second looks from some pro teams and continue his career at a high level. He'll get a good education while he's there, and I think he's going to be a heck of a get for the Badgers.
Wenatchee and Seattle dropped the puck at the Showware Place in Kent at 7:05. Austin will be calling the game locally on 560 KPQ. Hey, and don't forget, of course, tomorrow, Thanksgiving, 3 NFL games on tap tomorrow. 3 of them. There's also an NFL game on Friday, college football on Saturday. The Cougars wrap up their regular season. They'll be at home to take on the Wyoming Cowboys. Huskies at Autzen Stadium in Eugene to take on the Ducks. And then, of course, on Sunday morning, it's the Seahawks and the Jets. So if you like football, the next 3 days are pretty cool for you, or even 4. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 27 minutes after the hour. If you want to, you can celebrate the following obscure holidays. Today is National Bavarian Cream Pie Day. Today is National Craft Jerky Day. It's Taiwan Day, and it has nothing to do with consuming alcoholic beverages. It's about aprons, because there's a lot of Thanksgiving dishes, side dishes and stuff that you can make in advance. Today, a lot of people do that, and so when we say Taiwan Day, that means you're wearing an apron for most of the day today. It's Turtle Adoption Day. We're not doing any of these things. We're celebrating National Jukebox Day today. Jukeboxes, of course, go back to, a long, long time ago. Before there were jukeboxes, there were player pianos and music boxes that would play musical instruments automatically. Player pianos were quite popular for quite some time, and some, of course, were coin operated. You put a coin in and you picked a song and the piano would play itself. And then the transition to metal cylinders that gave the consumer a much larger musical selection. And then in the late 30s and early 40s, here comes a jukebox, which played, of course, 78 RPM records, eventually 45 RPM records. In the 1950s, jukeboxes were essentially everywhere. In fact, 75% of all the records produced in this country during 1949 to about 1963 went directly into jukeboxes. A jukebox-only issue of a 45 are now collector's items. For one thing, they would wear out, and there was only just a few of them that were made for each jukebox. So if you find a jukebox copy of a 45, you found a collector's item. Of course, the popularity of the jukebox began to wane by the 1970s, and now, of course, people, I don't know, I know a few people have jukeboxes. They work, but the jukebox has pretty much gone the way of, the blacksmith. But it is National Jukebox Day today. It's 29 minutes after the hour. Today in history, a very sobering meeting between the President of the United States, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and his Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon on November 27, 1965. Lyndon Johnson was told by his military leaders that if we are to succeed in Vietnam, we're going to have to put in a few more troops, like a lot more troops. At the time, in November 1965, there were 120,000 troops in Vietnam. They said we're going to have to bump that up to about 400,000 troops to send off to Vietnam if we're going to win the war. And so a lot of people, a lot of 18-year-olds were drafted in 1966, 1967, and 1968 to get to that number. And of course, it still didn't pan out. Well, the first man-made object ever to reach the surface of Mars reached the surface of Mars on this date in 1971. It was the Mars 2 orbiter, run and owned by the Soviet Union. The Mars 2 orbiter releases a descent module. It malfunctioned and crashed and destroyed itself on Mars. It's still up there, of course, but it did become the first man-made object to reach the surface of Mars. Of course, as far as the Soviets were concerned, it was a beautiful, wonderful success. So we finally got to Mars, at least something that we built made it on Mars. Man hasn't gotten there yet. And on this date, 51 years ago today, November 27, 1973, for the first time in history, the 25th Amendment to the Constitution is implemented. The United States Senate votes 92-3 to confirm Gerald R. Ford as Vice President of the United States. On December 6th, the House would confirm him as well, and then he was sworn in, and he had the job for less than a year. Birthdays. 4 Northwest legends, 3 of them are off to heaven. There's Cal Worthington. You remember Cal? If you grew up in the Pacific Northwest, you remember Cal Worthington. His dealership in Federal Way was the largest single car dealership ever. I mean, that thing grossed a ton of money. Cal Worthington was a decorated World War II pilot. He trained pilots who would eventually become astronauts. He wanted to be a pilot, but at the time, in the 1940s, to become a pilot, you had to have, the FAA required you to have a college graduation. You had to be a college graduate to become a pilot, and he didn't graduate from college, so he kind of stumbled into the car dealership game. At one point, he owned 29 car dealerships, the largest chain owned by an individual ever. The last one closed in February of last year. It was run by his son down in California. It just closed in February 2023. Cal Worthington married and divorced 4 times, made millions of dollars, never owned a car. Instead, he would just borrow one for sale from one of his dealerships. And in one of his last interviews, Cal Worthington said that he disliked selling automobiles. He kind of said, I just got trapped into it after the war. I wanted to fly, but they wouldn't let me, so I sold cars. And he made a lot of money. Cal Worthington, born in the state in 1920. Another Northwest legend, Bruce Lee. Born in the state in 1940, of course, a graduate from the University of Washington. He is buried in the cemetery in Capitol Hill, which gets thousands of visitors a year. Next to his son Brandon, Bruce Lee died in 1973 at the age of 32. Jimi Hendrix, James Marshall Hendrix, the greatest guitarist in rock and roll history. I got everything Jimi Hendrix ever recorded and released, and a few things he didn't do, and there's still things that he was doing with the guitar that I can't figure out. On the list of the greatest guitarists of all time, he is number 1, and perhaps on the list of greatest musicians in the history of rock and roll, he very well be number 1. Jimi Hendrix, born in the state in 1942, died at the age of 27 in 1970. But Bill Nye, the Science Guy, is very much alive. He, of course, is a Northwest legend. His PBS show, Bill Nye, the Science Guy, won 19 Emmy Awards. Of course, he became a breakthrough artist on Almost Live, and he's still doing good. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, is 69 years old today. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They're about as good as they come. And if you have a new house, the odds are pretty good Alpine Air may have actually even put in the HVAC. Contractors depend on Alpine Air because they need it done right. But if you have an older home and maybe your HVAC system isn't working as efficient as it should be, that's your first call right there. Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. Mike McKnight's got an opinion coming up, and they're going to show a film that we showed to you late last summer that was put together by the Washington State Department of Transportation and a couple of their creative people. They put together and put this fascinating film together. It deals with how the Washington State Department of Transportation and conservation groups are making sure that when animals move around, because animals move around, that they can do it safely without getting hit by, you know, us. That film is coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hey there, folks. Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese blintz, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Celebrate your holidays at Chelan Ridge Winery. Take your holiday party to new heights or join the Chelan Ridge party every Monday night with a home-cooked meal and a glass of award-winning wine. Elevate your holidays this season at Chelan Ridge Winery.
You're invited to experience small-town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
A small-town holiday wouldn't be complete without a visit to an original American hardware store in downtown Chelan. Kelly's Ace Hardware has been serving the greater Chelan area for nearly 100 years. Let them take you back to a time where personal service and quality products went hand in hand.
You're invited to experience small-town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
At Highline Homes, we know that kids can come home at any stage of life. Whether your kids are coming home or coming back home, we've got the perfect custom-built home solution for you and your family. Highline Homes has up to 100% financing packages available through our select lenders. View our many floor plans at highlinehomes.com or visit one of our model homes in Oregon, Washington, California, or Idaho. Then you're well on your way to building that perfect dream home for the next phase of your life.
Nice crib.
Nice crib. Highline Homes. On your lot, on time, built right.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I believe, for what it's worth, that life begins at conception, and that aborting a fetus is killing it. That being said, I still consider that there are some circumstances, such as rape and incest, that are viable, ethical justifications for abortion. But my personal opinion, and yours, really doesn't matter, because even if abortion was outlawed universally, those with the means and the influence, many of those folks, let's not kid ourselves, who no doubt would tell you that they oppose abortion, these folks would still be able to obtain one. And if they can, everyone should be able to. This is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Pause for Pets is presented to you by Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, Merry Maids, the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center.
Hi, I'm Corley with Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, Animal Care Manager, and today we have Bea. And Bea is an 11-year-old pit bull, and if we had awards here, she would win Sweetest Dog of the Year. We are absolutely infatuated with Bea. And she's infatuated with her stuffed lamb. I will not be surprised if this entire video she doesn't let go of it, but we'll see. Bea has kind of a sad story. She was with a family for 11 years, her whole life, and they had to move and could not take her with them. So she's been discovering life outside of her family that she knows here at the shelter. And she's been so resilient, and she's doing so good, and she's so loved here. But she needs to have a real home again, and that's what we really want for her. She's so sweet and easy. Yes, we've been doing office fosters with her, so she's spending time with our office staff, curling up next to their desks, and they're really enjoying having her because she's so quiet and easy. Yes, you are. Bea knows a couple tricks. She can sit even without treat prompting, which is amazing. And she'll lay down, and she will fetch her favorite stuffy right away if you ask her. Sometimes without asking, all the time, yes. She loves ear scratches, and she just loves people. Because she was an owner surrender, we do have a little more information about her. She doesn't really care so much for other dogs. So we do suggest that if you're interested, that she be your only child, and she will make it worth it. We don't know about cats because they didn't have one, but probably not a good idea. If she's not great with other dogs, probably not cats, I would assume. But she's great with people of all ages, and yeah, and we love her. So we would really love you to come meet her. We are open Thursday through Tuesday, 12:30 to 6. And if you would like to make an appointment, you can come in anytime that works for you on Wednesday. Just go on our website and schedule there. Bea, do you have anything you'd like to say? I couldn't have said it better myself.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. Pause for Pets is presented to you by Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, Mary Maids, the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Whether you're building from the ground up or transforming your space with a custom remodel, One Way Construction is your trusted partner in creating a home that's uniquely yours. Your dream home is just a call away. Schedule your free consultation and let's build something amazing together.
No small-town store could be complete without a bakery. In just a short time, Von Hart Goods in Manson has dazzled the locals, creating the most talked-about baked goods in north central Washington. Von Hart Goods, on the don't miss list for the holidays and beyond.
You're invited to experience small-town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, located in East Wenatchee, offers terrific views and challenging play for golfers at every skill level. From the golf course to the grill, you don't need to be a member to dine in style and play golf too. Highlander's well-groomed fairways and greens keep it difficult, yet friendly for your regular rounds of golf or a new destination for you and your out-of-town friends. Contact the Highlander Pro Shop today to schedule your tee time, outing, or tournament. Open 7 days a week, where everyone is welcome to play and eat.
Historically, animals were able to move through the ecosystems all across the state much more easily than they are today.
You could have cougars that could very easily crisscross the entire state in a matter of weeks.
There are amphibians that just migrate a couple hundred yards.
Elk move throughout the year. In the wintertime, they come to our lowland forested areas where they can access food a little bit more easily. And then during the summer, they need to be able to move up high.
Even small species such as fritillary butterflies and other types of pollinators migrate across the landscape.
There are very few species that don't migrate or move in some capacity.
Humans came in and we just drew lines. We drew lines with roads, we drew lines with railroad tracks, we drew lines with dams in the water and fences. And so that makes it difficult for animals to move across the landscape.
Habitat connectivity is the degree to which the landscape allows ecological flows, like animal movement. It's essentially the opposite of habitat fragmentation. Everywhere developments exist, anywhere we have populations of people, anywhere we have roads, there's definitely habitat fragmentation.
Wildlife connectivity is just like human connectivity. People need the ability to go to stores and school, to move when things get too cold or too hot, and animals need the exact same.
Changing the movements of wildlife is a very big deal. We have more negative interactions with humans and wildlife, and it affects their ability to survive.
Pronghorn are commonly known to make very long-distance migrations. As they're reintroduced, there are going to be major challenges with habitat connectivity for that specific species. Even something like a small fence that any person could step over may be a complete barrier to their movements.
Western toads are a really interesting and important native amphibian that also needs connectivity. The toads lay their eggs and produce tadpoles in our small wetland and stream environments, and then as they grow up into adult toads, move up into the uplands. And so we have adult toads and toadlets trying to cross the roadways and unfortunately being run over by cars or people who don't realize that those toads are trying to make a great migration.
Too much light in some places can fragment habitat, too much noise. A barn built on a riverside. Some of the bigger barriers are cities and development, interstates, highways, traffic. If we want to see viable wildlife populations have healthy ecosystems, then we need to absolutely focus on and work on habitat connectivity in the state of Washington.
My name's Jason Fedora. I'm with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I'm the wildlife biologist for Benton and Franklin counties. Standing in Franklin County at one of the irrigation canals, we've got hundreds of miles of these across the eastern Washington irrigated landscape. So the design of these is really good for transporting water, but really difficult for animals to cross or get out of. Once inside the canal, deer and elk and hoofed animals find it really difficult to escape. Animals often get drawn into canals just by trying to follow natural migratory corridors. Oftentimes, if we're able to get an animal out, we find that the hooves have been worn down from trying to climb up the concrete sides, that the hooves have been worn down to the bone. And often euthanization is the only humane option at that point.
We need to find a way to coexist together so that wildlife can move freely once again through the landscape.
I feel like Washington State has some of the best minds working on habitat connectivity issues, and we know what to do, and we know where to do it, we know how to do it.
Reducing fragmentation and creating a connected landscape for wildlife will require changes, but not giant changes.
Tried and true method of solving habitat fragmentation that's caused by roads is building wildlife crossing structures. And you may have seen one on Interstate 90 just east of Snoqualmie Pass. We're seeing new species show up like moose. We recently had a moose cross from north to south at an underpass called Resort Creek within the Snoqualmie Pass East project area. That one probably came out of the North Cascades, and we do know there's habitat south of I-90 that could support moose. I just think maybe they've never been able to reach it before wildlife crossings were built on I-90.
There are things that irrigation distribution systems can do to make things better for fish and wildlife and better for the farms at the same time. So as the Kittitas Reclamation District enters its aggressive water conservation program, we always take into consideration animal safety so we can get them out. We actually install animal escape ramps specifically designed for getting animals out of a canal system where they can get their footing, they can walk up and they can just jump over that and then off they go.
The area of US 97 between approximately Riverside and Tonasket is, no matter how you slice it, the top 3 worst deer vehicle collision areas in the state. It's also an important ecological area. There's been a lot of work, primarily by Conservation Northwest over the years, to find the money to upgrade that corridor, to install 1 mile of fencing south of Janus Bridge over the Okanagan River. We saw essentially a 91% drop in collisions in that fence section as well.
We can all make a difference in wildlife connectivity. So if you bring in citizens and local landowners, you can come up with solutions.
Reach out to a habitat biologist at the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, whose job it is to provide technical assistance and advice on how the public can design and improve their land. It can be as simple as a small connected patch of flowers or native plants in a person's yard or in their neighborhood. Urban planners, especially for cities and counties and at the state level, are some of the most important people for making sure that we have wildlife connectivity into the future.
I think the real way to know that we've achieved our goal is that our planning processes include wildlife connectivity at the very beginning.
This is a massive issue that has the potential to affect practically every species in the state.
We can't not afford to do wildlife connectivity projects. Think about the impact it would have if we lost our elk and our deer.
Washington has such an amazing array of wildlife and ecosystems and habitats. It's what makes living here so special. To keep it that way, we need healthy and connected habitats.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
At Coldwell Banker, their people, their company are cut from a different cloth. They see, hear, sense, and feel things that other people don't. They have a unique appreciation for the thing called home. Because of this dedication, Coldwell Banker has thrived for over a century. This is why they are ranked #1 on Agent Trust. Coldwell Banker. They do real estate with higher standards and have been guiding people home since 1906.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days, because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you can rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $1,100.
Culinary Apple is the place for holiday gift giving. We have gifts for everyone, including our most popular gift box full of locally grown apples, our famous fudge, and cinnamon glazed nuts. Let Culinary Apple make your gift giving easy this year.
You're invited to experience small town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
There we go. See, this is our little pack. You have to turn it on for it to work. It's pretty cloudy and pretty foggy. Now, yesterday at this time, the low clouds and fog had kind of lifted a little bit. We had quite a bit of visibility. That's not the case right now. A couple quick reminders. It's a very busy travel day today. If you're hitting the roadways, no problems at all in the mountain passes. They're not expecting any snow or any kind of snow accumulation that's going to make the driving a little dicey. We like it when it's green across the board. And that's the case right through the holiday weekend. Very little snow accumulation, so you're good to go. Doesn't matter what pass you take. I-90, Blewett, Stevens, look out if you're heading off into the Idaho Panhandle. You're going to be fine. So it's one of the, as far as roadway conditions are concerned, no issues there. But of course, there will be a lot of traffic on the area highways and byways. But I think that's gilding the obvious lily there. But boy, it is foggy, and it's going to continue to stay foggy for quite a bit of the day today before we get some late afternoon sunshine. So some pretty dense fog out in the Columbia Basin between Moses Lake and Ritzville to Spokane. Also on Highway 2 between Elmira and Spokane, and any place near water. You can find visibility going from just fine to really bad very quickly. So use a little common sense. It's never fun to drive on a freeway and you can't see where you're going, but heads up on that. Some pretty dense fog through the rest of the day today and maybe even into tomorrow. All right, from the National Weather Service, here we go. The clouds should be, we're told, burning off as the day progresses, and we'll eventually get up into the 40s with some afternoon sunshine, kind of like yesterday, but it's taking its sweet time. Pretty chilly for the overnight low tonight. We'll be in the lower 20s. Thanksgiving Day, not real warm because we're going to take a little while getting going. So for Turkey Day, we're looking at about 38 with a mixture of clouds and sun. Quite a bit of sunshine on Friday and a high of 42, and it looks like the clouds and the fog aren't really going to burn off much on Saturday. Saturday looks pretty gray, pretty cloudy, pretty foggy with a high of only 40. Back to some sunshine. We're going to have high pressure very well established, a big dome of high pressure, and that means low clouds and fog could be prevalent for most of next week. Have a great Thanksgiving. We will see you Friday morning, I hope. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.